Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so I guess we are about to start. I had to mute my music. So today's stream is gonna be something related that I found in one of my chats. So I'm just gonna prepare uh, what I need to insert over here. Just moving out things that I really don't need on my screen. So first thing first, I'm gonna just move this over here and get ready over one of my notifications. There you go. So I'm gonna start to record in 3, 2, 1. Oh, hold on. I want to pass by the same issue I had last time. Microphone. Okay, there you go. Let's see how this works without noise removal. Last stream I had noise removal. This stream is not going to have noise removal. Let's see how this works. Okay, so let's start. Recently, I was replying to a tweet on how to import tailwinds into a project, and someone showed me. Okay, I had to restart. Actually, it's a bit faster. Let's say 20% is gonna be fine. Okay, let's start again. Recently, I was replying to a tweet on how to import tailwinds into a project, and someone showed me a screenshot of a misconfigured Angular project with tailwinds on it. Well, I replied there, and there are two ways to do it, the long way and the short way. Today I will showcase both cases, and you pick what suits you better. So let's start. So let's start by opening my VS Code. I suppose that I have to create a ticker element. Okay, when I am doing these videos, I had to remove the ticker. So I'm gonna go back to camera. Okay, so I have already opened Visual Studio Code. So let's switch to the scene that I have prepared for that. So I go into my projects, and I'm gonna say cd projects, where usually I put all my information regarding projects. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install the client of Angular, assuming that you guys do. Okay. Gonna say here npm i-g Angular CLI. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just going to create the one of the projects as a clean Angular project and load it in VS Code. Then I'm gonna start to create this as an ng new Angular without tailwinds. It's long, okay? Nope. So what I'm doing right now is for the long section, I'm creating an Angular application. And on top of that, I'm gonna create the UI landing page, which uses Tailwind. So we know what is the process to make sure that our project has a Tailwind on it, and and what is the process that we have to use in order to set up these long steps. The part that is going to show up later on, the short way, is going to be very easy if you use NX framework. Okay, so we create our project. So I'm going to say here cd angular, no, angular without tailwinds long. I'm going to say here code here. And the first part that I want to ensure is that we can start this project. I'm gonna migrate later. First, I want to ensure that you guys can understand the concept without using NX. That is the long part. So I'm gonna say here, if I am not mistaken, it should be npm start. And we are gonna run just a regular Angular project. Nothing pre-configured out of the box, it's just Angular. And now we have our page in localhost 4200. And this is hello, this is Angular without tailwinds. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the CUI and copy the page wrapper component. So we understand from the very start that this page is not gonna work. This page is not gonna work since we are just copying the component. So I'm gonna say here I'm just looking into the component that we need to use. I guess this is the drawer. Okay. So the CUI uses tailwinds in. Okay, so let's start from here. So the CUI uses tailwinds to generate all its user interface. So what we're going to do is to take one of the components, the drawer component, in order to put it in our Angular project as a code, and we will see that it's not going to work because we didn't install tailwinds. So and also the CUI. So let's go and bring the drawer component. The intention is to mimic this kind of behavior as we see here. And what I'm going to do is just to copy this HTML. Okay. So first of all, let's copy this, and then let's go into our Angular project. If we go into our application, we have a component that we're going to use. And what I'm going to do is just to take this down. Take down the placeholder. And that pretty much is just going to create this like this. So we have the HTML. If we inspect, we're going to see that it contains all the elements. And so far, so good. We have all the classes that Tailwinds has in the background. It's going to use Tailwinds. So how do we install Tailwinds in the long way? Pause here. And I may have to go into the documentation I have. I'm going to say here. Oh, no, not right here. Documentation. This is gonna be So let's start to configure tailwinds for our Angular project. And the first thing we're going to do is to install the dependency. So I'm going to open a new terminal over here. And now I'm going to start to add the dependencies as we need it. So okay. So we have to change this over here. There you go. So the first thing we're going to do is to install the first thing we're going to do. Now that we copy our files, come on. Now that we copy our files, the first thing is just to set up the project with Tailwind. So let's start. The first thing that we're going to do is to install the dependencies. So we're going to say here npm install D, and we're going to install 3 packages. The first one is tailwinds CSS. The second is post CSS, and the third is the auto prefixer. Once we install these packages, we're going to proceed. It's Tailwind. Tailwind CSS and Tailwinds CSS is totally different. And it's auto prefixer. Now that we have the dependencies installed, we see our package.json. We're gonna see tailwinds, post CSS, and auto prefixer. Nice. Now let's start to configure our tailwinds. We're gonna see here npx tailwinds CSS init. That is gonna pre-configure our project to set up tailwinds. Now let's verify our package.json to see if the dependencies were installed properly. So we have tailwinds, yay, and we have auto prefixer and post CSS. So far, so good. Now let's start to set up the project, and I'm going to say here npx tailwind CSS init. That is going to set up and configure our project to accept tailwinds. And we have a tailwinds config.js. So what we're going to do next is to try to understand what we are going to do here. So we are going to use content theme and plugins, and first thing that we're going to do is to set up this file. This is the styles.css. So far, so good. It doesn't contain anything else. And what we need to do is to set up in src styles SCSS. We're going to start to set up this here. So the first thing we're going to do is to import our CSS library. So we're going to say here import tailwind CSS /base import. Oh, well, let me duplicate this 2 times. One is base, another is components, and one is utilities. So far, so good. So just follow up. We are in the src folder. We have styles.css, and now we have to start to run a process. So I'm gonna say here npm start. I know we already have a start here. And let's see what happened with our content. So of course, now we see something different. The font was not the font that we had before, but now is the font of Tailwinds. Now what we need to do is to ensure that the AC UI works here. So I need to install the dependency as well. So what I'm gonna have to do here is in the terminal, I'm gonna say here, let's stop this for a moment. I don't know, it's gonna change the configuration. So I'm gonna say here npm i-d the AC UI. Good. Let's see our package.json, and we have the AC UI in our list of the dependencies. The next step we're going to do is just to include the AC UI inside of the list of dependencies inside of tailwinds. So for this, we need to open our tailwinds config, and inside of projects, we're going to import the plugin for the AC UI. I'm going to say here, require the AC UI. That pretty much. And if everything works fine, let's see if it picks up. Now it picks up because we are using this inside of our plugins. And if everything works fine, let's see if we complete something here. I don't think it's gonna still run it. I think I'm missing something, and I think I had to stop this and see what are the styles that are supposed to be rendering. I do think that there is only one part that is missing, and is that yeah, I do think that is missing something, because this uses this to generate a target file, but I didn't tell anything yet to this configuration to take the right files. So yeah, so what we need to do is to configure our content. So I'm going to say here, we are going to listen to changes in our content to ensure that we can include those changes. So I'm going to say here src. I'm going to say here, let's use this blob pattern. So we include everything that ends in HTML and TS. With this, this should be good enough to serve our application with AC UI. Now let's see if now the drawer is there. Okay, so far so good. So we have our project configured properly, and we added the dependencies as we needed. So this is the long part. So if you use NX framework, it's gonna be even way easier. You don't need to even touch stuff. So I'm gonna set up a separate project in which we're gonna install NX framework with Angular on it, and we are gonna use NX console in order for us to help us with the setup of tailwinds and add to the configuration of the system properly the style sheet for our project. So I'm gonna say here npx create NX workspace latest. And we're going to set up a standalone Angular project. I'm going to say here, this is Angular without tailwinds short. I'm going to say here, this is an Angular project that is a standalone application. I'm going to use ESBuild. We're going to use SSS. I don't need to do SSR or service. I don't need to use server-side rendering or static site generation. I'll say no. For the moment, no end-to-end. And I will skip for now NX Cloud. Okay. So now we are installing the dependencies, and we're going to start to run that project. And now we wait. While this is happening, let's fix the drawer. I mean, the dark theme is nice, but it would be nicer if we can just tell the theme that it should be a light theme. So we go inside of our tailwinds config, and in theme, we're gonna say here light. I think it's something related to themes here. Yeah, it's an array. To tell Daisy UI to take that light theme, we have to create an option here that says Daisy UI. I'm gonna say here theme. I'm gonna say here light. Okay, so that pretty much is gonna help us to set up the theme in light mode. Nice themes. Okay, there you go. So if we type properly the configuration for this UI, themes is gonna pick it up, and then we have a light theme. So let's go back over to our site generation. So right now we just pre-configure our project in NX. So we're gonna say here cd Angular the short version. I'm gonna say here code, and let's see what is different and how can we pre-configure this faster. So we are gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna copy this to imitate the behavior that we have here. We're gonna stop the server here. Let's stop this so we can be able to focus in the other project. I'm gonna say here src app, and I have this boilerplate Angular with tailwinds and a router model. So I'm gonna say is I'm just gonna go into this component and take down this template, a very long template. Let's see. Let's serve first before we modify anything else. I'm gonna say here nx serve app or nx start. I'm gonna say nx serve. By default, if because I'm using only one project, this is the standalone Angular project, this is gonna run the Angular in serve in development mode. And there you go. So if I open here and I refresh this, I see the NX welcoming screen. So let's start to proceed to change all of this. So now that I have this component, let's take this down and let's press Ctrl V. There you go. So we have our drawer here. If I go over here, it shows like it usually does. So let's start. How do I add tailwinds in an NX environment? So this is pretty easy. When you go into your NX console, if you had an NX console in your setup, you're gonna say here, you can say here, you say generate, we say tailwinds, and if NX is gonna tell you set up Angular, set up tailwind for Angular, and I just tell what is the project that I want NX to take, and it's gonna do a dry run, and it's gonna update my package.json. It's gonna update the configuration for. It's gonna create the configuration for tailwinds, and is okay. Once I see this screen, I can. Okay, so it's gonna be like this. And let me close this. Now we're gonna tell this assistant to take our current project. Okay, so let's start again. So how can I? How can I add tailwind inside of my config So now how can I add tailwinds inside of my Angular NX project? So the first thing that we're gonna see is if you have NX console in Visual Studio, when I click on generate. Once I click on generate, I'm gonna say tailwinds, And there is an option of a generator that is gonna configure my project to receive tailwinds. So I click this one here, and it's gonna ask me what is the project where I need to add tailwind CSS, and I pick up my project. Then I'm gonna see a dry run. It's gonna say that it's gonna update the package.json. It's gonna create a tailwinds config, and it's gonna update my style CSS. So I click on generate, pretty much. And that's it. So without so many worries, we already have tailwinds config right here. So you may see that I didn't to type too much. Now the only part that I need to add is the dependency to Daisy UI. So let's start with that. Let's create another terminal here. I'm going to say here npm I -d Daisy UI. Oh, what happened? Okay. Now that we have set up tailwinds and we see this configuration, how it is doing our project right now. So if I go here and refresh, there are still that we have to do. We still didn't finish the configuration as well, and we may need to stop our project. So I'm going to say here, nxserve, and in theory, it should take the changes for our new style sheet. If it doesn't include the things on the style sheet, as we say here, we have to modify this. Okay, probably we need to modify this, but now we see that tailwinds is in our now we see that tailwinds is installed here. Therefore, our theme now it is based on the font of tailwinds. Of course, we don't have anything set up yet because now. Oh. Now that we have our configuration ready and Tailwinds is installed in our system, we're going to verify the component that we modified right here. And okay, it seems that we have our component ready and we have just to add Tailwinds to it. So what we do here is to do something similar to what we did before. And what I do here is I'm going to open a new terminal. I'm going to say here npm I -d. I'm going to say here Daisy UI. And now we can just include this in our configuration in the with config. So we have the plugin. I'm going to say here, the plugin is going to say here, you have the option just to create this here const Daisy UI is equals to require Daisy UI. And let's add over here. Plugins, Daisy UI. And let's add the option for the theme to be the light theme. Themes is gonna be light. So if everything works fine, I'm gonna see a refresh on the project, which now you see here Daisy UI is here, and let's see what happened. Okay, now we have our trouble ready. So configuring the project for Tailwinds is very easy if you know how to do it. I presented two cases scenarios where you have to use a manual configuration, and in my case, I like to do the now that I showcase how to do it the long way and the short way, you can decide what it picks you the best. In my case, it works better for me to work with NX framework, since I am more familiar with it, and time by time I have to extend capabilities on the projects that I use with NX. But if you feel familiar, if you feel confident in doing it in, okay, I have to just write it here. Time to change this over here. And I'm gonna just change the text over here. Yeah. You can either use your traditional Angular setup and add tailwinds manually, or using an X to lead your Angular project to use an NX generator to add tailwinds and add tailwinds. I hope for me it works better doing the setup on NX because thanks to NX NX console, I pretty much not worry about editing such files or about setup and configuration. The only thing I need to be aware is to set up the easy UI to make my drawer work, my drawer component work. Okay. So now is going to be the last part of the video, which is pretty much very simple to do. As you can see, you can either use your traditional Angular setup and add tailwinds manually, or using NX to let your Angular project to use. Oh, I had to go back. Yeah, I hope this short video helped you to configure your project easily. If you find this video useful, please give a like to this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And so you can keep and I will see you in the next video. Okay. So now I finished the setup of my prompt. So let's start. This is a bit cumbersome. I may have to properly tweak up the way I'm changing these things. So let's start. 3, 2, 1. Oh, gee, why I don't move it in the right time? Okay. So let's start to move the prompter. And as you can see, you can either use your traditional Angular setup and add tailwinds manually, or using NX to let your Angular project to use an NX generator to add tailwinds. For me, it works better doing the setup on NX because thanks to NX console, I pretty much not worry about setup and configuration. The only thing I need to be aware is to set up the UI to make my driver component work. I hope this short video helps you to configure your project easily. If you find this video useful, please like and subscribe to my channel. My name is Eric Rodriguez, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, so that was the video for a very short one. So I will try to generate my content based on short videos rather than longer ones. But let's see what we can find now. Let me go into my desktop. And let me add a marker here. So, oh, where are my markers here? Add a marker. Add a stream marker. Okay. Yep. Close here. Where is it? Yeah. So add a stream marker with description. So I'm gonna say here, and what? And the tailwind CSS with Angular. Okay, so that's probably like a 8 to 10 minutes video, or even shorter than that. Okay, something went wrong. Try to that quickly action again later. I'm gonna say here error. Okay, looks like I cannot add markers. How come? Okay, I will worry about the markers later on. So let's start to figure out what's gonna be my next content. So I'm gonna say here to video edit and ethics of open source. There are qualifications for a good software engineer, and next project boundaries in detail. And for small boundaries, I think I can just remove this one because that's duplicated. Delete. Oh, I think I can just delete it here. Delete. Data structure for GBS, express was code, understand the CID and X. Okay, creating components super fast with Daisy UI. Working on edge grid with Angular. So setting up edge grid 31 and Angular 17. Okay, that's gonna be the topic of the day. So maybe I have to. I hate Flutter. Okay, probably I'm gonna do that next. What is Google Place? And oh yes, this is gonna be a my series of this glitch. Probably I'm gonna document that one. Yeah. Okay. Creating a component super fast. Yeah, that's gonna be here. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna edit my video, and I lost every single item that I used before, which is a pity because I really wanted to. Let me see. I just go over here and tell I need the display. Oops. Yeah, it doesn't look. This look. Oh, the stream chat. Okay, chat away, and the stream manager also goes away. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it around here. When next time I start, it's gonna be there. But I don't want also to affect my primary screen. Would be useful if that opens in another place. Okay. So what can we start to do? Okay, so that's gonna be probably the stream of the night. Yeah, that's for today. So I'm gonna start to edit the previous video that I have in queue. I need to create the respective what is this, the thumbnail of my video. But I had to, I was looking for my pictures, but the pictures I used to generate for my previous channel, I can't find those pictures anymore, so I may have to pull my green screen and make funny faces. But or try to be figurative on my ideas. Okay, so that's for today. Thank you guys. Whoever show up, thank you very much. Have a great night. Peace. And I didn't mean that one. Okay.